This is the Khmer Times News. My name is Paolo Bonini, and these are your headlines. Is Cambodia a centre for wildlife trafficking? A murderer is on the run and police want your help to capture him. And another man is dumped on a pile of rubbish, and what happened to him is truly horrifying. But firstly, to our headline story. Cambodia has been accused by Thai law enforcement authorities of being a major market for wildlife trafficking. This week, 2 tiger cubs were seized from wildlife traffickers in Surin. At current, the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry is conducting an investigation following the allegation by the Thai police that Cambodia is the main market for illegal wildlife traffickers. The case of the 2 tiger cubs goes even deeper though, as rather disturbingly, the 2 suspects that were arrested also had 100 kilos of elephant tusks in their possession. Now, I have checked, and that weight would mean that 4 elephants died just for that 100 kilos of ivory, and that is truly tragic. When questioned, the duo claimed that Cambodia is in fact the main market to sell such illegal items. Thailand's National Parks Director has said, "We believe that the 2 cubs are from a tiger farm in Srei Racha district. We have strong evidence that the farm's main market is Cambodia." In response, Cambodia's Ministry of Environment told us at the Khmer Times that Cambodia maintains a very strong position on prohibiting wildlife trafficking, and it is very much committed to law enforcement. But the task ahead of them all is in fact huge. When you see headlines like this, as Interpol themselves are quoted as saying, one of the world's largest and most profitable criminal activities in the world is in fact wildlife trafficking. And with an estimated $20 billion of trade each and every year, this unfortunately is a problem that is not going to go away anytime soon. On this week's Crime Desk, a man is dumped and his injuries are truly horrifying. Another man is on the run and the police want your help. And those torn banknotes that nobody wants, well, maybe all that is about to change. Now let me tell you a tale that is really bizarre. It starts with a request from the police, for the police want you to help in identifying this man. Now the police are rather keen to learn of his identity, as he was found abandoned on a rubbish dump. He was quite literally just dumped there. Now, that on its own is truly very bizarre. But what they were to learn as they investigated further is almost unbelievable. You see, they discovered the man had no memory as to who he was or where he was. His memory, it seems, had been completely wiped clean. Now, one of the very few clues they had was this: a hole in the top of his head. But that hole was to lead them to a crime so horrifying it beggars belief. But it only came to light when the lost and confused man was in fact taken to hospital in Phnom Penh. The doctors themselves thought they'd best take an X-ray of the man's skull to see if he had been injured anyway, maybe a fracture to the skull, and this would explain his loss of memory. But what they were to see on that very X-ray was to leave them utterly speechless. So here is that X-ray. Quite unbelievably, prior to dumping this man on a rubbish pile, someone had hammered a huge nail into his head. Now, I am having problems even trying to see through the agony of all this, and to try and find any logic as to why someone would do this to another human being. Why would you hammer a huge nail into someone's skull and then throw them on a rubbish tip like a piece of garbage? If I was forced, I would hazard a guess that this is not an attempt at murder, but what in fact is happening is this could be some kind of magical cure that didn't quite work out. But if you yourself have any information on this case, Priya Vahir Police would love to hear from you. And police are again looking for your help in this situation, and that is to find this man who is on the run. Police have launched a manhunt for a fugitive drug addict who is hiding in Banan Mountains. Battambang Provincial Police are looking to arrest this man as they believe he is a murderer. The wanted man is considered to be an extremely dangerous drug addict, addicted to deadly methamphetamine that has, of course, destroyed so many lives. But on this occasion, it was not the drug user who was to suffer. The life, in fact, of a 77-year-old woman was snuffed out as she was beaten to death in the street. The drug addict also attacked 2 small children in his drug-fueled frenzy. And as to why this deadly assault even took place is not known. But the most likely reason was the addict was desperately searching for money to feed his addiction and saw the old lady as an easy target. The police force are searching the Banan Mountains, where the man is believed to be hiding. He is currently wearing a blue t-shirt and jeans and has been seen with a particularly large sword. Please ask, if you see this man, do not approach him, but they ask to contact them directly. The Prime Minister this week went on a stroll around Siem Reap. He was travelling incognito, hidden behind a face mask and a baseball cap. For what he wanted to do was speak to traders about tourism and to see how it was all going. Now then, one of the complaints he heard is one that has been the bane not only of tourists but anyone who lives within the kingdom, and that is the utterly irritating issue of American dollars being rejected as they have a tiny tear in the note, sometimes only a few millimeters long. We have all been there. You pay for an item and a cashier inspects the note with the eye of a forensic detective, then declares it's unusable due to a tear that is so small even a particularly keen owl with a microscope would not have spotted it. And there you stand, your note in your hand, extremely frustrated, as after all, money is money. A tear does not change that fundamental truth. Well, now the PM himself has instructed the governor of the National Bank of Cambodia to solve this issue. And he's told him to work urgently with all private banks to stop this being a problem. This is not only welcome by tourists, but all of us who have been so very frustrated trying to pay for goods with perfectly valid notes. Farmers have been having it rather bad of late, as flash floods have affected over 1,000 people and damaged vast swathes of rice fields in Stung Treng. Many areas in the Stung Treng province experienced flash floods that impacted over 1,000 residents and damaged 64 hectares of farmland. Reports say floods had damaged 226 houses and not only 64 hectares of rice fields, but also 13 hectares of other crops. Now, if that was not enough for this week, a further 70,000 hectares, yes, 70,000 hectares of crops has been destroyed by pests. Armyworm has destroyed over 20,000 hectares of rice crops in 18 provinces, and more than 50,000 hectares of crops were destroyed by whiteflies in a further 5 provinces. The Director General of Agriculture said that over the past 3 weeks, the whiteflies had devastated crops of farmers, but now the situation seems to be stabilizing. But it gets worse on another front, as the Director General also noted that the problem was the most serious in Prey Veng province, where 240,000 hectares of crop have been affected by the blight, some of them with losses of up to 70% of their yield. And that, to farmers, is simply devastating. But the situation is now improving due to the rains. So hopefully the farmers can now make up for the crops lost and still have a successful year. It's time to have a look ahead and see what the weather has in store for us next week.
Rightio, so here we are at the final chorus, which is, of course, the weather. I'm having trouble getting it up again. Oh, hold on. There we go. Right, I'm sorry, I'm getting up. I meant the weather chart. Now then, what we see is at the beginning of the weekend, we actually do have lesser weather. Remember, we have this new blue line I've got along the top here that shows us the amount of rain. And then as the week gently rolls along, it does increase. But this is very much localized rain. Overall, I've looked at the weather prospect, and it does say it is going to calm down some over the following week. So hopefully we'll get some more brighter spells.
This has been the Khmer Times News. Please do subscribe and comment and stay up to date with all the breaking news by following us on both Facebook and Telegram. This has been Paolo Bonini, and that was the week that was. I'll see you next weekend for your weekly roundup.